Good morning, Washington! What does it mean? What does it mean? Yeah, today the big news, Sam Rogers is leaving as the longtime head of CBS Radio in Washington. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Sam's been there a long time, not sure exactly how long, but he used to be there with Michael Hughes. Remember Michael Hughes? He was the guy that used to get berated constantly by Don and Mike when they were doing their show on WJFK. He was a program director there for JFK and ran a bunch of their stations. And Michael left the CBS cluster a couple years ago, leaving Sam basically as the head of the cluster. Now, Sam goes back to the 1990s, and PGC over the years used to be a big top 40 station, and then it became a hello there. Then it became a my knees. Adult contemporary station for a while. Then it became an urban station, and Sam was the big guy there for running the urban station over the years. And so anyhow, that's that. So Sam is going to leave the cluster as of the 10th of June, and a guy named Steve Swenson or something like that is coming down from New York to run it. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, it means... What does it mean for PGC? PGC used to be the top station in the market. Back when it became an urban contemporary station, back in, I don't know when was that, in the early 90s or something, it did really well. And for a decade, it was always, or close to the number one station in the market. It was always in the top 5. Lately, however, the station is slumping in revenue. It's the second most revenuiest station in the market. But also, it is ratings haven't been doing too well. In the 12 pluses, it doesn't even make the top 10 in a lot of ratings. So, CBS has been rumored to be moving the station more to a kind of a rhythmic contemporary sound. PGC has been hit on 2 fronts. PGC has been hit by Hot 99.5, Clear Channel's contemporary hit station, badly. That's a top 5 station all the time now. And it's also been hit by a more traditional hip-hopper, black-oriented KYS 93.3, a Radio 1 station. So PGC needs to do something to kind of figure out where in between KYS and Hot 99.5 it is. So we shall see. Will it become an AMP station or a NOW station like CBS has done with some of their other stations in other markets? It very well may could. Very well may could. So anyhow, we shall see. But I can't imagine PGC format will be tweaked. I can't imagine them dropping the format because it is still a top revenue producer. Okay, even though the ratings aren't so hot, it still makes a lot of money for CBS. So I can't imagine that changing. El Zal does okay in the ratings, and it does okay in the revenue. It's got a marginal signal there, 99.1, which is out of where's the signal? It's kind of out over by Crofton is where their transmitter is, somewhere in northeastern PG County or western Anne Arundel County. So it isn't a strong inside the Beltway signal. So I would like to see this station go back to HFS. I think that would be really, really cool. And then market itself to both Washington and Baltimore as a really, heritage rock station. But I just can't see that happening. For the time being, I see, I basically see LZL staying pretty much the same. It does okay for the marginalized signal it has as a Spanish contemporary outlet. 97.1 WIAD, Fresh 94.7, another one of CBS's stations in Washington. What's this sucker going to do? I don't know. It does okay in the female demos, but it's constantly battling Wash, Clear Channel Station, and Citadel's Mix 107.3. I would like to see the station pick up a heritage oldies format. CBS runs really cool oldies stations in New York and Philly, WCBS FM and WOGL in Philly, and it would be kind of neat if they did the same thing here in Washington. This might be the place to do it. JFK. Again, it does very well with its target male demos, but that's about it. They flipped it to Sports Talk about 2 years ago, dropped the Guy Talk format, and, it just isn't as fun to listen to as it was when it was a Guy Talk station. We still have the Junkies in the morning, and they're pretty good. Arrington and Dukes get pretty good ratings in the afternoon, but it's not very. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of buzz about it, and the overall ratings of the station 12 plus aren't so hot. I would say to the new guy, bring the station more back to a guy talk format. Don't worry about keeping it sports all the time. Let the guys, and the junkies do that actually. They talk a lot of non-sports stuff. I would say don't be afraid to do that, and they got to do something with the weekend on this station. I don't know, maybe even possibly some kind of a music format, maybe throw in some rock or something. I don't know. They need to get people listening on the weekends. Now, the Nationals have done well for the station in the evenings, but I don't know. So there we go. JFK, and of course 1580 HFS. Who gives a crap? It's a marginal signal. No one listens to it. No one ever will. Although it's the parking ground for the WHFS call letter, so CBS can restore them to their rightful glory somewhere, someday, somehow. I was also mentioning that it might be cool if this guy named Swenson, who's taking over, I think it's his name, I don't want to look it back up, but it might be cool if he came and brought in All Newser. He's been running All Newsers in New York, WCBS AM, and WCBS AM, and Gwyn's in New York City. It'd be cool if he brought the CBS format back to Washington. WTOP makes a huge amount of money, and it has no competition. It makes like $57 million a year in ad revenue. PGC makes $19 million, and PGC is the second ad revenue topper in the market. That's a huge amount of money for TOP to be making. It's always number one in the ratings in most day parts. Somebody's got to challenge them. Somebody's got to say, hey, TOP, you're making way too much there. Somebody's got to put a torpedo into TOP, and CBS seems like the most likely candidate to do that since they already run All Newsers in Philly and New York and Boston and other places. So they have the experience. They have this guy who knows all news stations. If I was TOP, if I was Jim Farley and Joel Oxley over there at the new Hubbard station, I might be a little worried. A little. So we shall see. Hey, CBS could just buy 103.5, right? Oh, well, we shall see. But that's the big news today. Sam Rogers is out. I'd also like to thank Sam Rogers for keeping the stone wall between DCR-TV and CBS. With Michael Hughes, he was a nice guy, and he actually talked to me. He gave me some information and all that. Once Michael left, the stone wall came down, and there was no more communication between me and CBS locally, officially. Now, there's a whole lot of folks at the stations who email me, but no more official communications. And has that been a good thing? You be the judge. All right, folks. This is NBC News Nonstop. And it's kind of, it's not widescreen mode at the moment. It sometimes is in widescreen mode, and then sometimes it isn't. What the hell's going on with that? I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Keep it short today, only 8 minutes. And don't forget to stay tuned.